Yes. This forbearance, the act of refraining from enforcing my rights, the obligation that every court order looks the same, yes. Or any debts, as in I have the right to sue you. Ouch. Now, strictly speaking, forbearance denotes an intentional negative act on the part of those in law enforcement that every day, yes, they serve protection orders. They serve dissolutions of marriage. They arrest those that violate the restraint provisions. Yes, they do. They are the ones that have all this work experience. Yes. And when they have, no, they're getting sued. While an omission or neglect is an unintentional negative, this is the intentional negative, yes, of allowing you to do what you did. They're liable because this is what they do every day. Now, for cause action, for legal reason or ground. The phrase expresses a common standard governing the removal of a civil servant or an employee under contract. Yes. Now, most of us that have been employed, we've heard of this for cause termination of employment. Yes. Well, for police departments that do what you do in each and every city of the United States because you thought you were special, but they all do the same thing. Oh, every police officer of the United States. For cause termination of employment for forbearing, yes, the intentional, negative act of refusing to enforce you to enforce the law, yes. They had an obligation to make sure, but they didn't. Now they're getting sued. Ooch. Their departments are getting sued. The sheriff's offices are getting sued. Yes. The oaths, the badge of the attorneys, the mandatory reporters, the civil rights coordinators, and the superintendents are getting sued because you said that I had no case. The removal of a civil servant or an employee under contract. Yes. Now, there's also the for cause for legal reason or grounds for legal reason. Yeah. Where I wanted to sue you. Yes. See, the unlawful use of force that is directed against myself and my family without my consent, and that is a criminal offense and an actionable tort. Yes. Model Penal Code. Oh. You know, when you use the wrong form to arrest me for a crime I didn't commit, yes, for informing you of a fraudulent protection order that didn't have the protections of law, yeah, that doesn't look anything like the other protection orders that every city and sheriff's departments. It was the unlawful use of force when you arrested me for the allegation of violating its restraint provisions. When you said I failed to appear, but I didn't fail to appear. You failed to give me notice from the state of jurisdiction because you sent the notice to Mike Van Proyen. Boop. The unlawful use of force to incarcerate me for 27 days. Yes. Then the unlawful use of force to obligate me to a mental health evaluation. Ooh. And then when you used a criminal complaint instead of the sheriff's or the police department's investigating, yes, the allegation of violating the restraint provisions and cyber stalking, I would have told the police department that you got a copy of the videos that I made that day, yes, when I was sitting in front of the Masonic temple, yeah, and I've emailed you every day for the last year and a half about this. The unlawful use of force, yes, when you transported me across county lines for the allegation of violating the restraint provisions, pooch. The unlawful use of force when you obligated me to go to court, pooch, for 16 months. Pooch. The unlawful use of force when you obligated me to have mental health evaluations, personality assessments, pooch, and everything that you did as a court right now. Now, there's billions upon billions of dollars that I am wanting to sue you for to compel by physical means or by legal requirement. Yes. These policies known as insurance policies. Yes. I'm going to want them because you compelled me by legal requirement to have to appear in court. Yes. You compelled me by the physical means of arresting me and transporting me across county lines. You continue to compel me to have to do what the law says is against the law. Now, I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to sue every individual that has a badge on in this nation that they have the personal life experience of serving protection orders. Yes. Serving dissolutions of marriage, right. Arresting people for violating restraint provisions, yes. Arresting people for criminal complaints, yes. And then for every time I had to appear in court because of the legal requirements, I'm going to sue you. Now I'm going to want the for cause termination of employment of every officer and every sheriff and every FBI agent and all of those in Homeland Security that said, well, it's not a civil rights violation. Oh, it's not. I think it is. Now, if X number of millions of employees of this government lose their jobs because they just would not do what the law requires, such is life. Now, give me your frequent flyer miles because I'm wanting to use the courts in this nation, in every constitutional court, in every nation, in The Hague, in the United Nations. Now, I included in today's email what's known as the United Nations Convention on Corruption. Yeah. And I just have a few minutes yet. Yeah. I think I'll just make this the last video. Did you get a copy of today's email? I'll go through it real fast because some of you have a hard time reading. Do you see the forgery? Yes. Do you see that my sons are in the wrong grades? Do you see that that's not Marilyn Van Proyen? I would say that a fool's test would not pass for the Rotarian newsletter. I'm suing Rotary. Yes, I'm suing the Baptists. I'm suing the Mormons. Yes, yes, I can sue it. And I'm suing the Foursquare. Now, when I gave you that email, including the attachments, yes, and you said, no, we're going to do what we're going to do, and we're going to keep Paul from suing us so that we'll keep ourselves out of jail. Yes, you actually aren't. Pooch. You're going to find yourselves in prison for decades. Ooch, 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 ooch. I know it's upsetting to hear that. Now, while I'm waiting for this to load up, yes. I was reading in this Money magazine, yes, April 2019. Poop. There was something of importance. I know there was, yes. It was something about the actual airfare. Yes. Could you give me the airfare that was paid for every time you traveled as an oath badger attorney, and then the actual reported airfare for the same airline ticket? Some of you have been enriching yourself at the expense of the population. You know, some airlines want you to travel on their airline so they can talk about you. Oh, we had Pastor Mike Van Proyen on Southwest Airlines. You know how important he is. Poop. Anytime you advertise the persona of a politician, yes, isn't that right, Kilmer? And you say, well, I'm in the House of Representatives. I travel all the time. I got like 1 million airline miles. Any and all institutions of travel, yes, that use the name or the office to enrich themselves, yeah, I'm going to sue them. So get me the airline tickets and the actual fare paid, the frequent flyer miles, yes, of all of those that I have the right to sue, yes. And then I want to know, did you get a special discounted rate so that they could say that Senator so and so or President so and so was traveling on their fucking airline? Now, I need to know if you traveled overseas. Yes. Somebody has been messing with the exchange rates. Yes. Could you give me every purchase that you made overseas while you were traveling when you were getting airline miles? And if your fare was significantly different than the other airline passengers, because you're enriching yourself at the expense of the other travelers, yes, so that the airline can say that you're so special. Pooch. Now, this is a forgery. Yes, it is. And I want it removed. Ooch. And my sons, yeah, I want them residing with me. Ooch. And this woman, Marilyn Van Proyen, yes, I want her living with me as well as with her kids. Yes. And I'm wanting to sue Rotor. Yes, he is. Now, no one would believe that's Marilyn Van Proyen if they did know her actual identity. Wouldn't pass the test. Wouldn't pass the motherfucking. So give me the exchange rate, yes, of every time you made a purchase in a foreign nation. Give me the airline tickets that were purchased that gave you the airline miles. Give me the actual fares of the airline, yes, at the time that you purchased the ticket. And give me the airlines right now. Poop. Give me the 5G.